That looks weird. Okay, there we go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dividend Happy Hour. Happy Friday. Hope everyone had a great week, and what a week it was. Definitely a lot of volatility out there in the market, although I don't know if this was the case in your guys' portfolio. But over here, we finished the week pretty strong. Let me show you where things are sitting right now, guys. So this is what we're looking at as far as the portfolio goes. And this is just my dividend portfolio tracking spreadsheet. You guys can start using this for free. There's a link to it in the description of the video if you want to check it out. But as you can see, we closed out the week very strong across both the taxable account and the Roth IRA. We're up about 1.4% just today, with the taxable account seeing slightly higher gains. So up 1.5% or so in this account. And then over in the Roth, we're up just about 1%. And as that compares to the S&P, it looks like the S&P was up 0.5% today. So, the taxable account is definitely holding strong. We're seeing some pretty nice outperformance so far this year. And I would say just from Monday until today, I think we're actually, despite the last couple of days, I think there were 2 days where I was in the red pretty good. Yesterday was a pretty rough day, and Tuesday was also a pretty rough day. But I actually think we finished, maybe we're down a little bit because I put out that portfolio update video. What was that? That was on Wednesday, and my portfolio was at 95K. So I think we're down a little bit this week, actually, to close out the week. But still, like I said, hanging in there pretty strong. For the year so far, I think we're up about 7% still. So it could definitely be worse. But anyway, that's what's happening in my neck of the woods. I want to hear from you guys real quick before we continue on. Were you up this week? Were you down this week? Where did you guys finish out this week? Like I said, a lot of crazy stuff going on, out there. So where did you guys finish up? And as I'm going through this chat, I see my man Luis in there. And you know what's so funny? And I'm not even kidding. Like right before I started the stream, I was just getting things set up. And Luis, I don't know if I saw something of yours. Like, I don't know if you'd posted a story on Instagram or somehow I don't know. I think it was something like that. Like maybe I'd seen you posted a story on Instagram today or yesterday or last couple days. But literally right before the stream started, I was thinking, you know who I haven't seen for a while? I haven't seen Luis. Hope Luis, you know what? This is what it was. This is where it was. I was thinking about, because I know you live in Mexico. So I was thinking about, man, it'd be fun to go to, I saw someone else was traveling to Mexico on Instagram. And that made me think, this is so funny, connecting the dots here, made me think, man, it'd be fun to go to Cabo sometime. Then I got to thinking about Mexico and I said to myself, you know who lives in Mexico? Luis. I don't feel like I've seen Luis for a long time. So, and I'm not even joking, man. This was right before I went live tonight, literally right before. So it's so funny to see you in the chat here. And I hope you're doing well, man. It's good to see you back. Hope things are good for you. Okay, guys. But yeah, let me know where you guys ended up this week. Yeah, I see some down. Allen's in the green. Teeps is down a bit. Ooh, part of that was from buying a new SUV. Well, that's nice. At least you got a little something out of it. Yeah, it looks like a lot of you guys are down for the week. Antonio was up 1.1%. Nice. Good job. There you go. But yeah, guys, why don't we kick this thing off? We gotta do our traditional toast, our traditional cheers. So grab whatever it is you're sipping on, guys. I got myself a little DP0. It is DP30. I was out of Fresca, so unfortunately, it's not Fresca clock tonight. Drank all the Frescas this week at the house. Ooh, and it was either this or like zero, like ginger ale zero or something like that. And I don't know, Dr. Pepper just sounded better. But guys, cheers. Thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with me tonight. All 127 of you so far. It's going to be a fun happy hour. Was really looking forward to this tonight. So cheers. Here's to you guys. And also here's to the dividends. Here's to the pursuit of that sweet, sweet cash flow. Because at the end of the day, that's really what's bringing us together. But nonetheless, cheers, guys. And I know you guys already shared with me whether you were up or down, but I want to know a few other things. We gotta get to the usual burning questions, guys. Number one, what did you buy this week? A lot of good dips out there to be taken advantage of. So what did you guys add to your portfolio? That's number one. Number two, what are you sipping on tonight? What did you bring to drink to the Dividend Happy Hour? I see Matt there is drinking his usual Smirnoff RWB Smash Ice. What's the RWB? I know I'll know it once you say it, but I'm drawing a blank right now. So Yeah, I was bleeding murder red. I bought Microsoft, Blue Owl. Nice with Blue Owl and SCHD milestone. There you go, man. 402 shares of SCHD and $400 per year in dividends. And that brings me to question number 3. Did anything cool happen in your guys' portfolio this week? I know, there was some turbulence, so maybe all-time highs are going to be out of the question. But, did anything else cool happen to you guys? Maybe like Matt, you breached 400 shares of SCHD, or maybe you hit a certain annual dividend income amount. So let me know if anything cool happened to you guys this week, both inside of the portfolio and outside of the portfolio. If there's anything cool going on in your guys' lives, be cool to hear about that too if you feel inclined to share. So that's number 3. Number 4, do we have any first timers here in the live stream? Is it any first timers here to the Dividend Happy Hour? And in case we do have some first timers, in case this is your first time tuning into the stream, first and foremost, welcome aboard. So stoked to see you in here. And just so you know, we do this live stream every Friday night, the Dividend Happy Hour, same time, same place, Friday nights, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Unless, and there's some weeks where I don't make it or we adjust the time a little bit. But on a normal week, and I'll always let you know, by the way, I always post on like Friday mornings or early afternoon, the Dividend Happy Hour schedule for the week, but it's typically on a normal week, Friday night, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So hope you enjoy the stream if this is your first time, and hope to see you back for all future episodes. Okay, but let me see here. Let me go through here. What we got here. Ooh, Sir Dude Bro Man. Some good pickups. Johnson & Johnson, who's had a killer few weeks. Visa, who's seen a little bit of a pullback this week, but they're still hanging strong. And then Broadcom. Broadcom has seen quite the pullback, but I think they actually saw a nice pop today. Yeah, they were up 8.6% today. Looks like they post earnings. Yeah, yesterday it looks like they posted some good earnings. Yeah, nice. So what else we got here? Yeah, Fast Eddie dropped 4K in the Roth. Nice buy. Nice contributions there. What else we got? Yeah, Luis, let me know when you make it out here. We'll grab a drink. Absolutely, man. That'd be awesome. That would be very cool. Oh, Marcus is in Mexico too. Cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, Pokemon picked up 1K of SCHD. Nice. Very nice. Anthony's still green, but down $800 since last week. Nice. Korean Cardboard, what's going on, my friend? Ooh, Alan sipping a little Pepsi. There you go. Nice. I had a Pepsi product earlier today. I had a big old Gatorade Zero. So good. I love Gatorade. I'm gonna go on an 11-mile run tomorrow morning, so I'm gonna take some Gatorade with me for that too. Ooh, Luis is drinking a Stella. Very nice. Very nice. There you go. Antonio's drinking some good old iced tap water. Love it. Ooh, Craig's in the building. What's up, Craig? And by the way, guys, while I've got Craig pulled up here, Craig, Russ, and myself are going to be doing an SCHD reconstitution live stream on the 24th. As of now, it's the 24th. So the reconstitution should be happening on the 21st, but we probably won't get the results from that until Monday, the 24th. So that evening, we'll be getting together, the three of us, on here on this channel and doing a live stream. And I'll post more about it as it gets closer. I don't know the exact time yet, but it's going to be a fun stream. Talk all things SCHD. Let's see. And any predictions too. You guys have any predictions on which stocks they'll kick out, which stocks they'll add? I'd be curious to hear your takes in the chat here. I've got a couple. Someone asked me this in the comments of one of my videos, and there were a couple of picks that looked interesting. Target was one that I think seemed like could be an interesting addition to the fund. I don't know if they would add it, but that one, Target, has seen a pretty decent pullback. So I thought, it could be a contender. Could be a contender, down 34% in the last year. Yeah, but what do you guys think? Any predictions for this year's reconstitution? I'm curious. Let's see. Yeah, see a lot of SCHD buys this week. Nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, Korean Cardboard, I use Schwab. Is there any way to see what my gain and loss is over the past week? You can. If you log into, well, I mean, if you log into the app, you can see your performance. But if you log into Schwab's web browser, there's a whole like portfolio performance section. And it's actually really nice. That's one of the things that Schwab, that's one of the only like user-friendly things about Schwab, I think, is this section. But yeah, log into the web browser, go to the portfolio performance section, and you'll be able to see your portfolio's performance across various time periods. Ooh, Striper Kid, Tito's and Gatorade, nice, very nice. Chris with the usual, with the huge, nice. Ooh, Joe Mama, I'll have a peanut butter white Russian later. That sounds really good, actually. Cutwater. I don't know if you guys know the canned cocktail company Cutwater, but they make a really good White Russian. Those things are strong. I don't know what their White Russians are, but I'll get their canned like margarita cocktails, and those things are 12.5% per can. Pretty dang strong. And they've got like, so here on this in Vegas on the Strip, if you guys are ever looking for like the cheap cocktails, the cheap drinks, go to the ABC stores. You can find them in like, there's two of them in the Miracle Mile shops. There's one in the Fashion Show Mall, but they always have like the cheapest drinks. And for the Cutwaters, you can get 2 for $6. So that's quite the steal. And actually, there's a place right down the street from my house where you can get them like a pack of 4, which they come in a pack of 4 for like $7 or $8, which is even more of a steal. Okay, let's keep going though. Enough of that. Let's see. Wow, big VU purchase. Holy cow. Dropped at least a few grand there on stocks this week, Jake. Nice. Good pickups. Good pickups. Yep. Okay. Investment Panther with some Google. That's another good buy. Google's seen a nice pullback. Good stuff. You know, Phil, there's nothing wrong with boring. You know, investing shouldn't be super flashy, super exciting. So, man, go with what works. Yeah, see some more VU, some SCHG. Nice. Joey got his nice year-end bonus from his first job. Congrats, my friend. Congratulations. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of good buys. Seeing a lot of SCHD. I'm seeing some Mike with some Main Street and Enterprise Products Partners. Interesting. Also with some Blue Owl. Okay. Nice. Bud Light Platinum. I was a good boy for all of February. Good job. You've earned it. Let's see what else, guys. What else we got here? Ooh, Charles, that's crazy. 829 credit score. Good job, man. That's crazy. There you go, Alan, with a nice milestone. 70 shares of SCHG and SCHD. Good job. Ooh, and it's Afro's first time in the stream. Welcome, my friend. I hope you enjoy this one. And we'll usually go for about an hour. I mean, I tend to ramble, so we typically go longer than an hour, but we try to keep it around there. Usually ends up being like an hour 10, hour 15. So let's see. Asima's in the building. What's up, Asima? Dan's buying DHS. That's not DR Horton, right? That's the okay, Wisdom Tree High Dividend Fund. Okay, nice. Kevin Burgess in the building, down about 0.5% for the week. Yeah, nothing too crazy there. Good job. I bought COP and APH. What are those? Oh, ConocoPhillips. Yeah. Okay. I remember you talking about that one a while back. And then APH, Amphenol. I'm not familiar with this one, although I do have it on the watch list. Holy cow. This looks like a nice dividend stock. Nice dividend growth stock, guys. We'll have to take a look at this one. I'm going to pull it up on Snapstock. We'll circle back to it. Bear with me. Yeah, these financials look killer. He does it again. Kevin Burgess does it again. The man, the myth, the legend. Okay, we'll take a look at that here in a few. There you go, Sir Dude Bro Man. Something cool definitely happened in my portfolio. I got my 70th share of Broadcom and got my second highest one-day gain due to the Widecom. Nice, that's funny. Andres with his first tranche of Vici properties. Good stuff. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. Oh man. Almost 15,000 shares of SCHD. Unreal. Unreal. Yes, it is a done deal. We were texting about it yesterday. So yeah, we're gonna hop on the 24th and we'll chat, do a live stream. Don't know exactly what time yet, but I'll announce that once it gets closer. We haven't figured it out yet. Nice. Alex with 1,300 shares of SCHD across that. That's unreal, man. Good job. Good job. Let's see. There you go. DJ with some SCHD, 9 shares. Good stuff. Let's see. What else we got, guys? Ooh, Antonio, good question. Do you wear a Camelback for hydration when you go on your long runs? No, I don't. I do have a water bottle that I carry. And I do have a vest as well that I can slip my water bottle in. But no, I don't have a full Camelback with the bladder and the straw and stuff like that. I used to have one of those back in the day, but I got rid of it because I just really didn't use it. So I've just got a water bottle. And that works just fine. I got like for tomorrow, I'll run 11 miles. Got a water bottle. I'll put some Gatorade in there. And then I also have some like Honey Stinger, the energy gels. And I'll take 2 of those with me running tomorrow too. So maybe I don't have any more than that, but I was going to say maybe I'll take some like candy or something because I feel like I could use some more carbs. I already started carbing up today though. I had a couple servings of peach rings earlier in anticipation for tomorrow, and then I'll take those. I'll wake up and carb up too before I go and have some of those honey stingers with me. It really makes a big difference. It really does. So yeah, Target's a possibility. Matt says, no, please no Target. Some silly boycott going on there. Is there still a boycott on Target? I don't know if there is. I know there was, but even so, even if there is, stuff like that, it's short-term noise. It's not something that you should get worked up about from a long-term perspective, at least in my opinion. So, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Let's keep going. Yeah, Marcus says, curious how you add money to VU. I didn't think you could buy partial shares. So no, I don't buy VU in Charles Schwab. I buy it in, because you're right, you can't buy partial shares of ETFs in Schwab. So I buy VOO and SCHD in my Roth IRA, which I hold over on M1 Finance. So that's how I'm able to do it. Ooh, any speculations on how much SCHD is paying this quarter? Where are they at right now? I don't know. So the last announced dividend was 26 cents. When do they typically increase the dividend? I mean, I guess it's kind of staggered actually. So, and here's where, one sec, guys. Let me see if I can pull up the payments here. So here's the quarterly payments for SCHD. So we had 26 cents last time, right? Am I looking at this right? Yeah, okay. 26, 25, 27. So I don't know. I really don't know. No prediction, really. What do you guys think? You think it'll be higher than 26? What are your thoughts? I guess we'll see. I guess just we'll see what happens when it comes to the, because isn't it based on what they do with the reconstitution? When are they paying the dividend actually? Is it on the 24th? I know they're paying it sometime in March, and I think last I looked on Snowball, no, that's not what I want. I think last I looked on Snowball Analytics here, it was, they have it for the 25th, which would be Tuesday, estimated. So it's not even announced yet. So yeah, I guess they'll do the reconstitution, then they'll figure out the dividend payment, right? So I don't know. No serious predictions on my end. Craig did an estimate though. Of course he did. What was your, and I'm sure you've already dropped it in the chat. What was your, let's see. Oh, Manel's got a good question about growth stocks. Yes, the live stream will be on this channel, Joey. Alan's got thoughts on crypto ETF. So now I'm just saving some of your guys' questions. Craig said, "Real men run without water." I typically do. If I'm going like, probably less than 8 miles or so, I'll go without water. But around then, that's when I feel like I need to hydrate. But if I'm going out for like a 10K or even 7 miles, then I won't take water with me. Peanut butter does not have any carbs in it, actually. Peanut butter pretty much has no carbs. Peanut butter is pretty much all fat, a little bit of protein. But yeah, you can still get some good energy and some good calories in from peanut butter for sure. Oh, 40-day boycott started of Target. Okay, well, 40 days. That's not a huge ordeal either way. Charles says 33 cents for SCHD. Oh, Jeff said he thinks it's paid on the 31st. Okay. Yeah, any updates on a possible dividend investing get together in Vegas? No, I really don't. I don't have any updates on that. Yeah. I don't see it happening this year, to be honest. Something I definitely need to think through, because I feel like it's going to be a tall order to plan something like that. I'm excited about the idea of doing it, but I don't know. I'd love it though if I don't know. I'm just going to leave it there. I don't have any updates. I'd love for it to happen at some point. I don't see it happening this year. But man, it's got to happen at some point. It really does. Okay, so Craig says, I calculate the SCHD payout estimate every quarter. It looks like it's going to be 26 or 27 cents per share, which would be over 30% increase from this time last year. Okay, which would be pretty comparable to the most recent payment. So, oh, the X date is on the 26th. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Sprout, isn't peanut butter loaded with extra sugar? Some of it can be. If you get like the Skippies and the Jifs, then there is some sugar in there. But I even think the carbs are still like, it might be like 6 grams of carbs or less than 10 grams of carbs per serving for sure. If you get just straight peanut butter, if you go with something like Adams or Laura Scudder's, they don't really add that stuff in there. The ingredients are just peanuts and salt. And you're looking at probably like 6 grams of protein per serving. And a serving of peanut butter is 2 tablespoons. So you're looking at probably 6 grams of protein and I think like 16 grams of fat per serving. So, and really not much carbs, maybe 2, but it'll be fiber, So, yeah, peanut butter, almond butter, all of that stuff is mostly a lot of the calories come from fat, not carbs. Okay. Okay. Ex-dividend date is 26th, pays out the 31st. Okay, cool. Ricardo's got a good question about living off dividends. We'll take a look at that. Okay, so let's jump over. We've got a few really good questions, and I just got caught up in the chat. So we've got a few pretty good questions here that we'll go through. Just 3 of them, and if you guys have any more, drop them in the chat because we've got about 30 minutes left in this stream. But this first question comes from Manel, who says, "Why don't you look at growth stocks?" And I think in a separate comment he referenced some specific ones like AMD or Celsius or stuff like that. And the reason being, just because they don't pay a dividend. You know, I only invest in dividend paying stocks. That's just my thing. But with that, that's not to say that these stocks also don't have some growth to them. Generally speaking, I look for companies that are growing their sales, growing their earnings, growing their free cash flow, like Visa. Visa is a great example, still pays a dividend, but also very growthy. And I've got a handful of companies in my portfolio that are like that. You know, Snap-on, Lowe's is like that. You know, Visa, obviously, Williams Sonoma, Clear Secure, I would throw in that category. So pretty much, I would say all of my stocks, all of the companies that I own are growing companies. Maybe the one exception, at least in terms of revenue, would be Altria Group, whose revenue has been pretty stagnant, pretty flat, but earnings per share is still growing. Free cash flow is still growing in that company. So the growth isn't entirely non-existent. It's just only in certain parts of the business. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I do look to buy companies who are still growing, and over the long term, that'll, that should result in ample total returns. And so far, that's been the case. I mean, since I started investing back in 2020, my dividend paying portfolio has outperformed the S&P, and thanks to what we've seen so far this year, that's the spread is actually widening a bit more. But yeah, I mean, I just don't want to invest in a company that doesn't pay a dividend, and it's just my personal preference. There are a lot of great companies out there that don't pay dividends, but in the same way that I look for companies that are growing their earnings and free cash flow and stuff, in the same way that's part of my criteria, so is the presence of a dividend. And the dividend can come in all different shapes and sizes. I have some high yielders in my portfolio that are lower dividend growth, something like a Blue Owl Capital Corporation or even Altria. On the other end of that, I have some lower yielding stocks that offer higher dividend growth. That's where like the Williams Sonomas and the Lowe's and Snap-ons and stuff like that come in. And then I have some in between that have moderate yields, moderate dividend growth, that are those stalwart sleep well at night stocks. And that's going to be the Johnson & Johnson's, which is also crushing it this year, and Procter & Gamble's and stuff like that. So I tend to keep a balance of a lot of those different things in my portfolio. Holy cow. I'm at 31,588 shares of SCHD. Looking forward to the reconstitution video and upcoming dividend payment. Yeah, there you go. That's crazy. Done a video on yield max. Yeah. Yield max typically gets brought up every live stream at least once. But yeah, I've done a few videos on the channel on specifically TSLY, but it's kind of like a blanket discussion on yield max. Like what applies to TSLY applies to all the yield max funds in my mind. And if you want to check that out, you can just go search on YouTube, just TSLY and then my name, and you'll see the videos that I've done there. So, but if you don't want to check those out, long story short, I'm not a fan. Okay, got a couple other good questions. Save these here. Rob, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. No, Charles, he's good. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the yield max funds, not one bit. And I was really happy to see. I don't know if you guys follow the Simply Safe Dividends channel or not. Which, if you don't, I'd highly recommend it. But Brian Bollinger put out a really good video on his thoughts and his concerns on the yield max fund. So I'd encourage you guys to check that out. But anyway, let's go over to this next question from Alan. Do you have any thoughts on the crypto ETFs? So someone asked me about BITO last week, BITO. which basically, let's look at it. I think they trade futures on Bitcoin. I think that's what it is. Bitcoin futures. Yeah. So it's basically like running derivatives on something that's already kind of, I don't know what the right word is for Bitcoin. But definitely not like stable. So it's just kind of like speculating on top of something already very speculative, which, is going to result in a very high yield. But, a similar fashion as those yield max funds, I just can't help but look at that and think, yeah, probably not sustainable. So to answer your question, Alan, any thoughts on the crypto ETFs? And there's other probably Bitcoin ETFs, like what can we see here? Bitcoin, what's this one? Like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust ETF. This probably just owns Bitcoin. It invests in Bitcoins. Oh, and then it invests, okay. The reference reflect the value of Bitcoin. So yeah, I think if you're going to if you want exposure to crypto, if you want exposure to Bitcoin, I don't know why you wouldn't just own it outright. I don't know why you'd want to own a Bitcoin ETF versus just straight up buying Bitcoin. So I just don't really see the purpose, I guess, of buying a Bitcoin ETF if you can just buy Bitcoin yourself. And what's the expense ratio on this? 1.5%. So with something like this, you're basically paying someone a 1.5% annual fee to buy Bitcoin for you when you can just buy Bitcoin yourself. That's my take on it. And then, as far as like the BITO, which is trading the futures on Bitcoin, I just don't think that's a good idea. That to me sounds like a recipe for disaster. So yeah, I guess with that said, I don't really see much of you won't see me investing in any Bitcoin ETFs anytime soon. So we'll just leave it there. Ooh, Cutter's got a really good question. Yeah. Sechin? Good question. I'm not sure if you've ever done a breakdown on Costco. I have before. It's been a long time since I've talked about Costco. Great company, though. I think it's great. Ricardo, do you ever plan to live off dividends? Yeah, definitely. I plan to live off dividends at some point. In kind of my timeline for that, at least when I'll start pulling dividends, is kind of what I'm thinking, guys, is if I just keep going at this rate, by the time I'm like 45, 46, 47, so another 15, 16-ish years or so, I should be at a point where I'm at least bringing in a couple grand, over $2,000 per month in dividends on average. And I think at that point, I might start pulling some of my dividends. Maybe definitely not all 2,000 or, however much it is. But, if I'm bringing in on average, when I'm that age, if I'm bringing in on average, a couple grand per month in dividends, I might start taking half of that, use that to start paying some of our bills. And I don't know, like I'm only 31 right now, so this plan could definitely change with time. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Maybe once I hit around that age, I can start pulling some of them and then reinvest the other part and continue growing that thing. But it really just depends. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know what life will look like at that time. And excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't know how. Goodness gracious, that Dr. Pepper's getting to me. I just don't know what things are going to look like. But at least for now, that's kind of my plan. And yeah, at some point in the future, I definitely plan to live off dividends. But here's the thing, like I'm in a very unique situation where like what I do now with these YouTube videos and my newsletter and just putting out content and talking about investing and dividend investing and just kind of documenting this entire journey with you guys. This is something that I can do for the rest of my life. And this is my full-time job and I love doing it. So, at the same time, even though I'm really excited to start living off dividends and using them to pay my bills, I don't know if there's ever going to be a point where I will live just off of dividends because I do see myself doing something like this in some capacity, and I'm sure it will evolve over time. But I do see myself doing this for the rest of my life in some way, shape, or form. If you guys will have me, that is. I really love doing this, and it's putting food on the table, and I don't ever want to stop it. And so, as long as I can do this, I will. And so, I think that plus dividend income is going to it's going to be pretty sweet to have income coming in from both of those sources. And also, too, I do some real estate stuff as well. I'm actually in the process of refinancing on an investment property that we have. Just finished the rehab on it, so we're refinancing that into just a 30-year loan, and that'll be a good rental. The house that I currently live in, my wife and I are planning to. We just moved in October, and I think this will be a good cash flowing rental too. So I'm also in the process of saving up for another down payment for our next house. I want to save like $100,000 in cash. I'm building some cash in a high yield savings account right now for that, and I'm hoping I can do that in the next 5, 6, maybe 7 years. But upon doing so, I want to, when we move on to the next place, I want to do whatever we can to hold on to this place, because I think this will be a good cash flowing rental. So, my investments do stretch beyond just dividend investing, and I'm hoping to continue building both out over time. And so hopefully, yeah, with all of those things, with this channel and the newsletter and dividend investing and real estate, hopefully we'll have some good income coming in from a handful of different sources. So let's see. Bubble Chaser's got a good question about SCHD too. And, I want to throw this question back to you guys too. As far as you guys living off dividends, what's your plan? What's your guys' timeline for living off dividends? Like, how many years from this point do you see yourself starting to pull some dividends? Maybe not living off dividends completely, but at least starting to use some to pay your bills. Because I do think it can be kind of a gradual transition. And I don't know, because I'm not in that stage, but my plan is to make it a gradual transition. And so what does that look like for you guys? Like, when do you see yourself starting to pull some dividends? Louise says January 1st. Don says 2036, so another 10, 11 years. Nort says June 2026, so another 10, 11 years. Anders is too close to retirement to completely live off it, but about 1/3 of my need by 2033. Okay. Sechin's got another good question. Striper says you need at least 30 years of investing to live off dividends, in my opinion. It certainly helps, the more time that you have to compound, the better off you'll be, for sure. Pot Roast says 30 years. DJ says 30. Kevin, probably start pulling some dividends in 2 years. Nice. Matt says, I probably won't live off mine until 2025. There you go. Alan says it won't be until sometime after I hit 60. Charles says, I started late, so I don't see myself pulling money out like in 15 to 20 years. Okay. Nick, yeah, that's cool. Leveraging it to buy some real estate at different milestones. Plan not to touch any dividends for 25 years. Nice. Yeah, guys, and based on my timeline, they're 15, 16 years from now. That will have been from when I started investing till that point. That will have been 20, 21, probably 22 years. So, oh, there you go. Joey says, my daughter is 10. I've got 8 years to build a portfolio that will pay for her college. That's why I have 2 jobs. Nice. Craig says 10 to 15 years. Okay. Pat says he's turning 70 and just this month started drawing some dividends and pulling 75% and leaving 25 for reinvesting. Nice. Bubble Chaser 2040. That sounds like we're on a kind of a similar timeline there. Cool. Matt says 2045. Okay. 2025. I thought you said earlier. Probably a typo. Or you were just kidding around. Yeah, 2045. That's another 20 years from now. Sechin, 20 years. Yeah, Gabe, I absolutely love how dividend investing works, but I'm overthinking getting all the way in because I'm just starting out at age 45. Yeah, I understand that. I understand feeling like maybe you started, too late or you don't have enough time. You probably have some thoughts along those lines, but let me tell you, my friend, 45 years old, you've still got so much, you've still got plenty of time to compound, and you've still got a lot of great wealth building years ahead of you. And obviously, I don't know what your financial situation looks like. I don't know what your plan is. But let's say that you plan to retire, around the standard retirement age, around 65 years old. My friend, that is 20 years that you have to build that portfolio. That is a long time. That is a very, very long time. I hope you don't get discouraged. The important thing is that you are starting now, and definitely don't overthink it. Like, it's better that you start now instead of continuing to delay it. And yeah, so I think that you're on the right track. Just know that you've got so much time, and even at 65, it's not like that's where the finish line is. Your portfolio will. This is just one of those infinite games that you can play for the rest of your life. Your portfolio will continue to grow and compound. That doesn't really stop. So it's not like that's where the end is, and what you have at that point is what you're left with. That thing will keep growing. So just keep that in mind as well. Vasco says 20 to 25 years. Okay. Sir Dude Broman, 16 and a half years when he can start pulling from his Roth. There you go. Yeah, I've still got about, which is crazy to think, I've still got 28 years until I can do that. Wow. That's wild. Pokemon's 20 years, says 20. There you go. Antonio says, I've got about 25 years before I would like to start living off dividends. Yeah, there you go. Alan says, I've noticed that I'm not having issues with being able to chat anymore. I didn't know you were having issues. Looks like your comments are coming in just fine. Oh, there you go. Pokemon house will be paid off in 10 years. Then I can contribute a lot more per month. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Gabe, what would your strategy be if you were just starting out at age 45? I mean, once again, assuming that you've got, another 20 years, even 10, 15 years until you're going to retire. Don't feel like you need to rush into like high yield stocks to make up for lost time. I don't think that's the best approach. And I get this question quite a bit. I'm actually going to save this one, Gabe, because this is a really good question. I get this question a lot because people will tell me, you talk a lot about investing from, when you have a lot of time on your side, if you're in your 20s or your 30s, but what about if you're starting later in life? What if you're in your 40s or your 50s? And, I think the approach is still more or less the same. I still think at the end of the day, your goal should be to invest in businesses, whether you get exposure to them individually or through funds like the S&P 500 or SCHD. I think generally speaking, your goal should be to invest in things that are going to continue growing over time. Now, the difference between starting at 45 versus starting at 20, 25, 30, or some other younger age, the difference is that, yeah, you do have less time on your side, but you can't make up for that by chasing higher yields. You have to make up for that by, unfortunately, being more aggressive with your contributions. And that's why they say time in the market beats timing the market, because the more time that you have on your side, the more that you can kind of cruise to, building your portfolio. You don't have to invest as much every week or every month because you have all that time on your side. But if you have less time until retirement, you do have to make up for that by, trying to contribute as aggressively as you can by upping your contributions as much as you can, and pair that with, this is a kind of not a double-edged sword, but on the other side of that, there's another thing that you can do to help your case. It's do what you can to try and keep your expenses as low as possible, because that's kind of the two. That is the two factors in this calculation when it comes to when you can retire, is like, how much are you making and how much are you spending? And so those are two different levers that you can work with. And in terms of how much you're making from passive income, the way to increase that is by just contributing more, not by seeking out higher risk investments, or higher higher, less stable yielding investments, if that makes sense. So the strategy, the underlying strategy is still the same. I would just encourage you to just contribute as much as you can. That might not be what you want to hear, but I do think that is really the best way to reach your long-term retirement goals. Because there, at the end of the day, there's still no shortcuts, right? That's true no matter how old you are. Yeah, Andres, what's your end goal for dividends? That's a good question. I'll circle back to this one. And I'm almost caught up in the chat, guys. I'm going to get back to some of these questions because now we've got about we've got 7 questions that we're going to get through. We might rapid fire these. So let's see. Good question about SCHD. Good question about portfolio trackers. So we'll add those. So now we have 9 questions, guys. This next one, what's this? Okay. This next one comes from Gabe, who says, you've shared how your dad put you on Charles Schwab since you were a youngster. Were you dividend focused even at that age? Man, this is a really good question. No, I wasn't. And even when I first started investing seriously for myself, I wasn't focused on dividends. I was kind of floundering. So, and I've told this story before, and I know a lot of you guys will have already heard this, so I apologize if you have. But yeah, when I was a kid, probably 11 or 12 or 13, somewhere in that range, my parents created custodian accounts for myself and my siblings. And from that point on, every Christmas or every birthday, basically our gift from that point on was money for our Charles Schwab accounts. And so, which I know, super exciting as a kid. But yeah, I remember when that Charles Schwab check hit, my dad would just have us look over his shoulder as he invested it basically on our behalf. And, growing up, it was stocks like Berkshire Hathaway. It was ETFs like SCHD was one of them. There was another SCH one in there. Maybe it was like SCHH, or I honestly don't remember what the other one was, but there were a couple ETFs in there. I remember Berkshire Hathaway. Sirius XM was a big one. Trying to think what other ones there were. If you go back to the first couple of videos on my channel, you'll see a lot of those early holdings in the Schwab account, but I don't remember any other ones. PG&E, that was another one, actually. Did not do well on PG&E. Hawaiian Electric was one. And what else? There were probably a few more in there. But yeah, I don't remember any of the other ones off the top of my head. But it was kind of random stuff. Some dividend payers, some not. And yeah, I really decided to lean into dividend investing once I made the conscious decision to take this stuff seriously and start investing consistently. I started learning about this stuff because I was pretty much a blank slate when I came into this. So I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know what ETFs were. I knew I had some in my Schwab account, but I didn't know what they were. And so, yeah, coming into all this investing stuff, I was a blank slate. And so to learn about it, you go, these days, the first place you go is YouTube. And so that's when I just, I really sunk my teeth in and was exposed to a lot of different stuff. And I don't know, just the more that I learned about dividend investing, the more that this style of investing really resonated with me. I really liked the idea of not having to, sell my shares down the road. That really clicked with me. Why would I want to spend all this time building up this, collection of assets just to someday have to sell it off? That just didn't seem like something I wanted to do. I know it's fine, and it works just fine for people, but that's just not really something that's just not really an approach that I'm interested in doing. Yeah. Matt's got a good question about writing a book for youngsters. I'll add that one too. So yeah, and then this actually kind of ties into Sechin's question here. This next one, and thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate all the support. Who are some other YouTube creators that you follow? So, and yeah, like I said, this kind of ties into what I was just saying, ties into this. So once I started watching YouTube and learning more about this stuff, I really resonated with what people like Russ were saying, PPC Ian, um, Dividend Data, Gen X Dividend Investor, JJ Buckner. There was a guy at the time, he doesn't make videos anymore. I really wish he would. Bruce Wang. I don't know if you guys remember Bruce Wang, but man, I loved his videos. Who else? I know I'm missing some. Darth. Who else, guys? I know I'm missing one. Dream Green Show. That was it. Dream Green Show is another one that I really, really watched religiously. But a lot of, all those guys were talking about dividend investing, and they really put me on the path to doing this. So I owe a lot to those guys, and it's cool to know. Like it's crazy to know that a lot of those guys now are my friends, and I talk to them somewhat regularly. But yeah, I would say that other creators I follow. Yeah, all those guys still, except for Bruce, because he doesn't make videos. But all of those guys I still follow. Dividendology, I think he's fantastic. Really nice guy too. Who else we got? I mean, Professor G, I got to shout out my man Nolan. JP Dividends, Jack Murphy. Got to shout out Nathan. Who else we got, guys? Who else? Kevin Burgess, of course. There's a lot of great channels out there. And I know I'm missing some, but I will tell you what, generally speaking, my favorite kind of videos to watch, and also these are my favorite kind of videos to make. I love seeing the portfolio updates. And that was, when I first got into this stuff, that was pretty much all you saw on YouTube. It was just, it was just people coming on here and sharing their moves every day or every week. And it was just, I don't know. I really liked it. It got me really excited about investing. And it showed me that, a lot of these guys were just like me. They weren't finance professionals. They were just people who were just sharing what they were doing in their portfolio. And, I thought that was really cool. And that was one of the things that inspired me to start my own channel. It's like, oh, these guys are just doing this. I can do this too, I think. And it would be a good way for me to learn more about it and put myself out there and, meet more people in the community. And still, like to this day, those are my favorite kind of videos to watch. I love seeing the portfolio updates. I love seeing the dividend income updates. I'll never get sick of those. And I think when you get to the root of what YouTube is or should be, I think that's really it right there. It's just kind of documenting the journey. It's just, I mean, YouTube's, I don't know if this is still their motto, but it was broadcast yourself. And when I think about that phrase, that's what I think about the portfolio updates and the dividend income updates. That's what it's all about to me. And so, and at least on my channel, like those aren't always the videos that do the best, but they're some of my favorite videos to make. And I really think they're an important part of this whole thing because it kind of tells the story. And yeah, so, oh yeah, of course, Jake, dividend growth investing, of course. And Ari, yeah, of course. Of course, I knew I was forgetting some people. Teeps as well. There's, like I said, guys, there's just so many great channels out there. So many. Ooh, Kaysen's got a good question. Let's see. All right, guys. We still have 9 questions. Okay, so this one's quick though. Josh says, do you use a financial advisor or planner? I do not. I do it all myself. The closest thing that I have to like someone managing my investments for me is just my Roth IRA. Just investing into 2 ETFs. It's all automated. Everything gets automatically invested and reinvested. So that's the closest thing that I have to that. But otherwise, it's all handled internally. Yeah, Cutter, this is a really interesting question too. Do you have a YOLO stock that is high risk, high reward that you throw a little money in to add a little excitement to the portfolio? Not really. What's exciting to me is like big swings in either direction aren't really that exciting to me. I mean, it's nice to see your stocks going up in value. It's nice to see, it's cool to see that, but that's not really what that doesn't really um scratch the itch for me. I get much more excitement about steady progress and, seeing my dividend income continue to increase. And what I get the most excitement about too is like going through periods like this, what we're going through right now, when like the S&P is down year to date, when the Nasdaq's down year to date, but my portfolio is still up 7 or 8%. That gets me more excited than anything, knowing that I'm seeing less drawdowns than the market as a whole, and knowing that like at least so far, I should knock on wood, knowing that I've put myself in more of a protective position. That gets me more excited than anything. And I get a lot of slack for investing in boring companies like Procter and Gamble and Johnson and Johnson and Altria. Um, but at the end of the day, like those are some of the big reasons why my portfolio is holding up as well as it is right now. And more than anything, like that makes me excited, and that makes me feel like I'm on the right path with all of this stuff. I don't need a whole lot of volatility. That's not something that I really crave or seek out. But I will say, in terms of like high risk stocks, if I had to pick like the riskiest stock in my portfolio, it probably would be Clear Secure at this point, which actually has been doing pretty well lately. My losses have pretty much been cut in half just in the last week and a half. And I've been averaging down on it too, which helps. But I would say that one is probably definitely the most volatile stock in my portfolio, but it's also the one where I think the most can go wrong, because um, it's just in such a young industry, and a lot can change very quickly. So I would say that that's probably the highest risk stock in my portfolio. But when I look at the financials, everything is heading in the right direction. They have no debt on the balance sheet, so even then, it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of risk with that one. I know they're at least not at the risk of going bankrupt anytime soon. So yeah. Ooh, Fast Eddie's got a good question. And Pokemon, thank you so much for shouting out the Deep End. And by the way, guys, the Deep End just hit over 1,000 subscribers on that channel today. Actually, I woke up and saw that we hit 1,000 subscribers. So thank all of you guys who have subscribed to that channel. I hope all of you guys are really enjoying the content over there. And in case you haven't seen any of those videos, I hope you guys check them out. They're basically just candid conversations that Ari and I have every week. It's been a lot of fun. We have no plan. We have no, kind of like this live stream. We have no plan. We have no agenda going into it. We just hop on and just start talking and see where it goes. And it's always a lot of fun. And we get into some good conversations, and really glad we started doing it. And Ari's such a fun guy to talk to. Such a nice dude. One of my good buddies in this space for sure. Let's see. Ooh, that guy. Good to see you, my friend. Oh, Lucas, what's up, man? Good to see you too. Yeah, Sunday Sports likes Jeremy over there. I know Jeremy. We talk, I know he's a very polarizing guy in this space. We talk on occasion. He lives here in Vegas as well. And he was one of the first channels when I first got into investing. He was one of the first ones that I started watching. It was like him, Graham, Andre, obviously, like the big guys. You get served those first, and meet Kevin as well. So yeah, a handful of years ago, they were some of my first exposure to a lot of this investing stuff. So, and like I said, I know he's a polarizing guy, but he's always been nice to me. So, let's see, Gabe, Everything Money. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of Everything Money too. I haven't watched them as much, but I used to really, really like that channel back in the day. I still don't really have any issues with them. I'll watch if there's a video topic that jumps out to me, I'll watch them. But there's just not as many as there used to be. Let's see. Sebastian, I submitted a portfolio review. Hopefully mine makes the cut. Thank you for the content. Well, thank you for submitting your portfolio. And this actually ties perfectly into what, who said it? What Kaysen said over here. So Kaysen wants to know, what do I have to do to get you to take a look at my portfolio? So, I mean, if you've already submitted it for review, that's pretty much it. And I really can't make any promises. Like when it comes to doing those portfolio review videos, it's the portfolios that I choose to review in the videos. It's all selected at random. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And at this point, I think I have over 300 submissions. So there's quite a lot there. But I don't plan on stopping this video series anytime soon. And, like I was saying earlier in this live stream, I plan on doing this for the rest of my life, hopefully. So, I should get around to your portfolio eventually. But yeah, that would be the best chance that I'll take a look at your portfolio is through submitting it to be reviewed in one of the videos. That's pretty much the only way that I do those. So Lucas has a good question on Nike. That's a quick one. I don't really have any serious thoughts on Nike lately. I feel like I've talked about Nike quite a bit this year. I like the company. It's definitely seen a nice discount. It's definitely seen a nice pullback, I should say. Good financials. But I don't know. It's not one that I'm interested in. I go back and forth on it all the time, whether I want to own it or not. And I've gotten more exposure to Nike just from running. Both of my running shoes are Nikes, and I like them a lot. But I don't know. There's something keeping me from wanting to own this company. But I think that there's a lot to like about it. So, and I think if you are interested in owning it, now is not a bad time at all to do it. The free cash flow yield is almost 5%, so that looks good. The valuation metrics all look pretty favorable. So I think if you are going to buy Nike, now is not a bad time to do it. But anyway, guys, we got to bust through these last 8 questions because we're at the hour. I got dinner coming up here, so I got to kind of rapid fire through these. So, and with that said, I apologize too if I skip over some of your guys's questions here. A lot of good questions coming in here, guys. And that's the thing. Let me just ramble on this for just a moment. I feel like I've started to say this every stream too. I feel bad because it's getting to the point where I can't get to every single comment or question in the stream. And I'm really happy to see them coming in throughout the stream. You guys have been asking some fantastic questions. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I'm only one dude doing this. And if I answered every single question, we would never end the stream. It would constantly be going, which is a good thing. It's a great thing. But at the same time, it's just not the most realistic. So I just want to apologize again if I skip over some of your guys' comments or questions or don't address them here in the stream. It's not on purpose. I'm not purposefully trying to ignore you or skip over you. It's just kind of, we are kind of on a time crunch here. And unfortunately, I can't get to everyone. So I hope you guys don't take it personally. It's certainly nothing personal on my end. And I hope you guys understand that. I really do. And I probably will reiterate that in future streams too. So be prepared. Yeah, Bubble Chaser. At what point do you have in Taxable and in Roth? So at what point do you hold SCHD in both? I'm currently only holding in the Roth. I don't know. I'm not sure that I entirely understand the question. But I guess let's see here. So thinking about it from my perspective, because I also only have SCHD in the Roth IRA. And at this point, if I decided that I wanted to own more SCHD, and I'm investing in it every single week, so the exposure in my overall portfolio is growing. But let's say that I wanted to, expedite that. If I did, I would probably just start buying more of it in my taxable account. So I guess that would be the instance in which you wanted to own it in both accounts. If you wanted increasing exposure to SCHD beyond what you are already building, and because obviously you're capped in the Roth IRA just with those contribution limits. So if you wanted to increase that exposure even more, then that's probably when you would start buying it in the taxable. Another instance in which you maybe would want to consider that, like let's say that you are thinking about selling out of some positions and you don't really know where to put them. SCHD is not a bad option. And I've considered doing that as well. Like if I wanted to trim down my portfolio, trim down my number of holdings, maybe if I don't really know how I want to reinvest them, or I can't think of a good place to reinvest those funds, maybe I'll just start a position in SCHD in my taxable account. But you know, I've done pretty well picking individual stocks. I like doing that, and I kind of like having that separation in those two funds. One where it's actively managed, where I put it into individual companies, and then the other where it's passively, you know, it's passive. I mean, and it's just ETFs. So I think those are a couple instances where maybe you'd want to consider having it in both. Okay, let's keep going though. Number 6 questions left here. Yeah, this one's a quick one too. So, Sechin, how have the tariffs affected your investing mindset? It really hasn't whatsoever. That's a very simple question to answer. They haven't affected my mindset whatsoever. Yeah, Andres, this is a good question too. What's your end goal amount for dividends? I don't have an end goal, my friend. You know, I said this earlier in the stream, but investing is it's an infinite game. There is no finish line with this. There is no cap to how large your portfolio and your dividend income can get. And I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. I will continue compounding. That's one of my favorite games to play, is this game of compounding. So I really don't have an end goal. I really don't have an end goal. My goal is to just build this as big as I can while I'm here on this planet, and you know, hopefully I can leave that to the next generation, and hopefully they'll be good stewards of it. I think that's part of my responsibility too in building this. And you know, someday when my wife and I have kids, teaching them how to, in the same way that my parents instilled that in me from a young age. You know, hence the custodian accounts that I mentioned earlier. I think it was good, and I want to instill those same lessons in my kids, and hopefully they will be good stewards of this. I think if I do my job right, they will be. So it'll be interesting to see. It's not easy to get kids excited about investing or to understand some of these concepts, which ties into Matt's question here. Any thoughts about writing a book for youngsters on investing? Man, I would love to do that. I have some thoughts on it, and I'm not trying to force it really. Like if a good story comes to mind or a good way to explain some of these concepts comes to mind, then I'll write it out. But I haven't had anything come to mind yet, but I'd love to do that. I think that would be such an important thing to do. You know, write some kids' books on just compounding wealth or just compounding interest and how it works, and teaching some of these timeless investment principles from a young age, and putting it in a format that is digestible and fun to learn about. Such a hard thing to do. But yeah, I'm going to keep thinking about it. And if and when the idea comes to me, I will write it down as fast as I can just to make sure I don't lose it. But I'd love to do that. Let's see. Yeah, Asima's got a good question. Do you think SCHD will drop below $27 anytime soon? I can't bring myself to pull the trigger at a current price because of a sudden drop to 26.93 in December. Asima, I think with all due respect, I think you're overthinking it. The drop from $27 to 26.93 is nothing that you should be concerned about. It's really not. And truth be told, I really don't think you should concern yourself with SCHD's price at all. I mean, if you have a long-term time horizon, that's especially true. Because, you know, let's say that you start investing today. If you start investing today at what seems like a high price, it's just not going to matter down the road, like years from now, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Today's highs are going to be tomorrow's lows. And it's all going to work out in the end. If you've got a long-term time horizon, like I said earlier, time in the market beats timing the market. When it comes to ETFs like SCHD, or when it comes to the S&P 500, don't time it. Don't even question it. Those exist to just be simple and hands off. You should only just worry about feeding it, and growing the number of shares you have. But definitely don't worry about trying to time things with SCHD. If you buy in now and it does drop in share price, if it goes from 27 to 26.93, that's actually a good thing, because now your investment dollars can stretch farther. You can buy more shares at that lower share price and lock in a higher dividend yield in the process. But yeah, definitely don't try to time it. It's a very hard thing to do, and it could very easily backfire. So my advice to you, and I shouldn't say my advice, but if it was me, I wouldn't worry about it at all. Good question. Let's see. Okay, travel general. Use a tracker. Yeah, I use a few different portfolio trackers. I use my free, let me show you. And there's links to all of these in the description of the video as well. So this is the view I want. So I use my dividend portfolio tracking spreadsheet. This is one of them, and you can download this for free, link in the description. I use Seeking Alpha for now. I use for like their watch lists and stuff like that. So like, this is one of the watch lists I have on here. So I'll use Seeking Alpha for watch lists like this. I also have a similar thing for my own holdings here, but we're actually building something like this in Snapstock. We're building a watch list out. So I'll probably, as far as portfolio tracking stuff, I probably won't have much of a need for Seeking Alpha anymore. But then I also use Snowball Analytics. I would say this is probably, if you're looking for something more than just like your standard spreadsheet, Snowball Analytics is hands down like my favorite portfolio tracker. I can't speak highly enough about it. I only have good things to say about it. And once again, there's a link to this in the description as well. And you can try it out for free. They give like a 2-week free trial. And right now they're actually running a 30% off sale. So if you like it, you can lock in a pretty good price on it. But yeah, I'd highly recommend checking this one out. Download my free portfolio tracker if you like spreadsheets. And yeah, those are the few ones that I use. There's a lot of really good portfolio trackers out there. So Andrew, what's going on, my friend? No need to apologize. I'm happy to see you in the chat. Okay, guys, and we have this last question right here from Fast Eddie. Do you use a management company for your rentals? Do you do all the maintenance and work on your rentals? No, I wish I was that handy, but we have a property management company for the rentals, and they take care of all that stuff. It makes it very easy, and it really doesn't cut into the cash flow too much. So to me, it's worth it. As someone who's not super handy, yeah, it's worth it. So but yeah, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I know there's been some other questions that have come in, and once again, I apologize for skipping over some of them, but we'd be here all night. And I gotta have dinner now. But with that, guys, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me tonight. It was another really fun live stream, as they all are. 200 strong on the stream still, which I'm really happy to see. Before I let you guys go for the night, stay tuned. I got a really good video coming out tomorrow talking about, just with the craziness going on in the market this week, which stocks that I have my eye on, and, just kind of talking about if things head south in a more meaningful way. Let's say that this volatility continues and it's more down than up moving forward. Now, I'm going to be talking about 3 stocks that I really have my eye on, and 3 stocks I would just love to buy shares of at a lower price. So going to be a really fun video tomorrow for you guys. I hope you check that out. And then what else can I tell you? I think that's about it. Also, last thing before I let you guys go, any predictions for next week? I know none of us can predict the future, but what do your spidey senses tell you guys? Next week, are we going to have, let's start with Monday, actually. Is Monday, we're going to see some green, kind of like today, to close out the week? Or are we going to see some red on Monday? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat real quick. Personally speaking, something, I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea, no real justification for this, but I could see us having some red on Monday. I want to know what you guys think, though. Excuse me. Green. Alan says green. Pot roast. The market will rebound. Baron says small green. Choppy weeks ahead. Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely some choppy weeks ahead. Jake says hopefully it keeps going down. Phil, my crystal ball broke. Got to take it into the shop, Phil. Asima, no problem. Thank you for tuning in so much. And great question. Thank you for asking it. I appreciate that. Dave said it will probably start red. Chris says choppy. Matt says red Wednesday and Thursday due to inflation stats. Bubble Chasers hoping for red. Lucas flats. It's a nice moderate take there. NLP says start the week down, then bounce back. Yeah, Defense Dad hopes it's low. Chris says down. Andrew says down. Sir Dude Romance says blood red. That's funny. Striper Kid says, I'm hoping green because I don't have too much money to spend. I get you there. Joey says Red Dead Redemption. Great game. Great game. Yeah, so we'll see, guys. It'll be interesting, and yeah, I guess these are some last things. Like Chris says, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this stream, and check out the Discord group in the description of the video. That's free to join. A lot of the characters here in the chat are also in the Discord group. It's just basically one big group chat for investors. And if you do join the Discord group, please read the rules on the welcome page when you join, because when you first join, all of the channels and stuff are going to be locked. You're not going to see them. So to unlock them, you have to read the rules on the welcome page as soon as you join. And it's the first page that you'll see once you join the Discord group. You'll be taken right into that welcome page. So definitely read the rules there, because that will tell you how to unlock the rest of the chats. So yeah, guys. Okay. We're gonna call it a night. But guys, thank you once again so much for all of the support, all of your time, and for hanging out with me. It was a lot of fun as per usual. And if you guys do have any questions that did not get answered and you really need to get them answered, always feel free to shoot me an email. My email is just ryan@retirewithryan.com. You can find it over on my channel. And I try to respond to every single one of my emails. So if you guys do have some questions that you want answered, feel free to shoot me an email for sure. So I'm really good about responding to them. So, all right, guys, have a good weekend. You guys be safe out there, and I will see you tomorrow. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Check it out and take care.